Rev TV brings the world of motorsports into your home with over 100 live race series such as MotoGP, IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship, Extreme E, World Superbike, and the newly launched all-electric E1 series. From 2 wheels to 4, from land to sea, your destination is Rev TV.
Live from Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps and from Belgium. Welcome, race fans, one and all, back to Green Flag TV, where this afternoon we are set to go racing for round number 4 here for the Beer League's silly season. Welcome, everybody, to the show. Once again, my name is Nolan Rempel alongside Acinni as we bring you all of racing action from start to finish here of this fantastic Wednesday afternoon. Finn, this race here going to be a stellar one this afternoon as we get set to go racing once again around Belgium at a track that's becoming quite the staple in recent seasons for the Beer League. Almost every single season featuring at least one race here, and the races are always some of the most chaotic in the season.
They usually are, and I think this week will be no exception as we dive into our second round with the NASCAR trucks. I gotta say, that's probably, out of the 3 options here, probably one of the most unique because of the lack of downforce in some of the sections that you really need it, which will make for some interesting lap times and interesting laps as we get underway with our sprint and feature races tonight.
Right now, qualifying very much underway here as the drivers making their way around. It is NASCAR stock trucks at what is an extremely challenging racetrack. Lap times well over 2 minutes, about 2.5 on average, 2:25 right now for provisional pole, with several drivers making their way up and around, trying to see if anybody's got an effort here. Breaking into a Rouge and Radion, not a sight you see every day of the week. And, well, that's our finish line. Moving a little bit further down the road as it is this time with the exit of La Source.
Or specifically the start of this lap. The start-finish line still is at where we usually have it between that chicane and La Source. But like the endurance format, that start line gonna be a little ways down, if I remember correctly.
No, not quite. The timing line is indeed at the end of the stretch here this time by. We'll ride on board with Jason Lee as he will get set to take you for a lap here around the Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps, breaking for Rouge and Radion, and well, looking to disrupt somebody's run at the pit road, but instead, the cars and Catlin inspires his way up the hill on one of the steepest pieces of elevation change you can find on the iRacing surface.
Absolutely, and nothing to keep that car planted down at all, so they have to do a little bit of lifting, a little bit of braking before they head down the Kemmel Straight, utilize all 4 gears these engines have, and through all 4 of them up to the 7,000 RPMs into Lake Holm, hard on the brakes for turns 7, 8, and 9 as they get into the more technical sectors coming out of that corner and then into Bruxelles, one of the only real hairpin that is proper hairpin and not like an acute hairpin like the Source. Turn number 10. And then we dive into No Name and the fast set of corners here, which is a little bit slower as the result of a lack of downforce. And then into the back half of the lap.
Of course, that No Name Bend being renamed the Speaker's Corner, but it is still No Name Bend in our hearts. Double gouge over here, a multi-apex left-hander, a bit of a stretch in the middle, and then a blast down a short stretch into Lafang as they will be hard on the brakes. Carson Cowell still riding on board of him through what is one of the longest laps that these trucks will likely have been on in their lifespans. Out of the right-left complex and into Campus, a 90-degree right-hander, and then, of course, Scavolo, a corner that is critical to get right for the Corpol Ferrer straight away on the run down to Blanchimont. Blanchimont in its own right, an extremely pivotal corner on this racetrack, up through the gears, through third, into into fourth. And then a bit of a braking effort there into Blanchemont. Hit that apex out to the curb on the right-hand side and into the chicane for what would normally be the final two corners of the racetrack, but not today, as La Source acts as the final corner with their Rouge being turn number 1.
And getting the exit out of the chicane still critical to a good lap time. Just where it starts and ends changes ever so slightly.
Bit of a lockup on the right front there, coming down into the final corner, and then a blast down the straightaway. We'll see Carson Catlin close out his first lap. Now the question was, is that lap enough to be successful? I would imagine it was. It was looking like a pretty strong lap there, and it is good enough for 15th place, a 2:29.07 for Catlin, and the round behind going to go Eric Ronenberg. That top of the hill there at Radion is going to be a pivotal key for several drivers in this race, right, who are going to be trying to fight their way over that. The last time we were out here, I believe, was in GT4 machinery, and that race was pure and utter carnage. 2 cars went flipping over the wall at the top of Radion as well. One of them in the middle of the Kimmel straightaway. That's just such a treacherous piece of racetrack.
It is such a treacherous piece of racetrack. On a good day, it is even more treacherous, I think. I think the silver lining of moving that start-finish line is that our lap 1 will be a little bit tamer as they're just getting into the gears when they go through Eau Rouge the first time around, and then they'll have a whole lap to get themselves sorted out before they have to go too wide through it. I don't think it's going to stop some people from going too wide through Eau Rouge, but they have a little bit of time to work themselves up to a full flying lap in the race.
I don't know. I feel like it could go the other way, right? I mean, at least this way with La Source, you have the possibility to weed out some runners with those classic La Source crashes right at the exit of the corner. You have a chance to get single filed out on the run down. Here, you don't have that chance. You're going to be too wide coming up through there. And at these big, bulky 600 horsepower monsters, that track's going to tighten up real quick, way more than normal.
Yeah, absolutely, especially with how little grip these guys have on the tracks usually. I can't imagine this track. This track is one that always feels so wide up until you're in a battle with somebody else and you're side by side and you're like, there is zero room on this track. Where did I think this room was supposed to be? So it is one that I think we'll see a lot of battles end up sliding off track one way or the other for these races tonight, and I can't imagine it'll be a blast to watch the whole way through.
Alex King set himself up for the final chicane of the racetrack, and he's going to go sliding in, and that will ruin his lap. He was on a heater too, so a big shame for him as he was going to look to potentially have a good night. Right behind them, Chris Flams, much better entry into the chicane, kind of tiptoeing his way through both apexes, but hits them perfectly, but he gets too much on the power on the exit of the corner. Could that ruin his attempts on trying to go for another lap time here?
I think it may have at least stunted the growth that lap could have shown. Still an improvement his last time by. Oh man, these cars get real squirrely as they get out of these slow corners, and I'm imagining it'll be no different when we see them go racing when it's not in qualifying. Unfortunately, by 300ths, no improvement for Chris Flams there.
Big unfortunate news there for Flams, as that shows, right, that lap was a heater. Had it not spun the tires out of the chicane and simultaneously out of La Source, that car could have been going for a good time.
Certainly could have been. I think it would have been maybe enough to get himself in front of Kyle Smith, which he currently sits behind that driver in 15th. But I don't imagine he'd be too much higher up, but maybe a couple more. Let's see.
So as these drivers continue to fight their way around, 30 seconds will be left on the clock. And of course, with no chance to finish your lap, this is it for most of the qualifying efforts, and a good chunk of drivers didn't get times in.
Yeah, I'm not surprised given how much these cars tend to, wander as we're, describing them. I would have to imagine a few that tried to get those laps done were unsuccessful in doing so. We had a handful of drivers not even take to qualifying, which doesn't surprise me given how those drivers are. Giovanni Romano, Henry Morris, both individuals I'm used to seeing start from pit road at least some point in the night, or the back of the grid. Speaking of, I think we've got one ready for us.
We sure do. Time to see how things are going to pan on now for racing action here this afternoon as we get set to go racing at the Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps. Alex Coffer for the Chicken Runner starts his sprint race on pole alongside Alexander Bueller. Row number 2 on the grid, it's Scott Fleming and John Combs. Row 3 will hold Alexander Klenk alongside Jason Lee. Back through the field on row 4, Eric Ronenberg and Austin Tucker. From there on row 5, it's going to be Chris Bright alongside Darren Bai. And then, of course, Ron Wolf and Matthew Dupuis. Row 7, Ringo Harrison and Kyle Smith. From there, row 8 with Chris Flams and Carson Catlin. Row 9 with Ryan Murphy and Jake Kasich. And then Greg Beckman and Tyler Carlton round out the top 20. Back to the field, it's Evan Campbell, Alex King, Corey Barrett, Ben Williams, Jeremy Castro, Justin Hall, Ethan Conde, Sean Nellen, Henry Morris, Giovanni Romano, Tyler Augustino, Gabriel Gonzalez, Ryan Verhulst, Stefan Purcell, and Adam Joseph Mailhot closes out the grid.
A packed grid. It's always fun. Spa's such a fun track that seems to bring out people to race, but I'd have to imagine they maybe didn't quite expect it to go this way. Well, maybe they did because it was silly season, but it's always fun to bring, cars you don't usually see at Spa to have a race here, and I think it'll be one they'll at least be enjoying for the full hour and 15 minutes they get tonight.
Only 7 laps anticipated to be the run here for sprint race in action this afternoon, which again just goes to show just how unbelievably critical these 7 laps are going to be, right? These races are set to fly by because it always tends to be the longer races with low lap counts seem to go by the quickest, isn't it?
It absolutely does because there's so much more, racing that happens per lap. You're used to seeing it develop that way.
And well, the rev's going to build on up here as the lights flick on. And sprint race in action officially underway here for the Rouge wrecking mayhem here as the field gets set to take off down to start number 1. A bad start of Alex Coffin, already down 5 positions as they get to the top of Rouge at Radion and fire up and over the hill. Shockingly, your prediction came right. We get through Radion clean.
Well, the biggest thing with these cars is they get really loose when they're really fast, and that was figured since they were going slower, it was going to work out well. Next lap, however, I think things are going to go way haywire as we see Alex Coffer continuing his design. I wonder if he's having an issue with shifting.
Hey, remember, these are one of the few vehicles that have shifters in them, not to mention not meant for road course running either. Darren Bai going off the road, he was forced to lose a handful of positions. And it looks like we got a car around to the back, and that's Carson Catlin slamming into the tire barriers, but only a single vehicle incident. So far, Alexander Bueller maintaining that momentum while out of Bruxelles and down to the Speaker's Bend. Ron Wolf getting around Chris Flanswell. Kasich picks off Darren Bai.
Kasich and Ron Wolf, 2 cars we've seen very fast in these trucks when they came out on the first week of the silly season. Imagine they'll be doing some good movement today, ideally with another fantastic race here.
Stellar outing for several drivers, right? Only one car actually going, well, only one truck going around on the initial jump here. Not for lack of trying. There's up there and by off the road as well. Make that now 2 trucks that have gone spinning around. But we have a double file back here from most of the lap, and look out! Holy cow, a huge step out for Ethan Conde. And now, I think Dupuis just went off the road as well. Oh, and look out as Chris Flams has just been sent to the shadow realm.
Yeah, Chris Flams being pushed out into the tire barrier coming out of Stavlo 2 before Kurt Paul Frere as he had that car get loose on him, and then he was jettisoned out just moments after.
And all of the runs up through Blanchimont here as drivers make their way into the chicanes for the first time here this afternoon. And look at the Hornet's Nest, the one driver second indeed, taking out Tyler Carter. That was Matthew Dupuis, and the 42 going around as well. I think that's Greg Beckman spinning off into the grass. Yep. Conde's off the road. And finally, the big crunch comes at the chicane.
Well, at least it's at the chicane and not at Eau Rouge, because that tends to be a little more explosive. But we'll have to see if Scott Fleming and Alexander Bueller can hold on to it coming through the first time at speed. Let's answer looks like yes so far.
So far, so good, as drivers trickle their way on through. The field has been really broken apart as a result of all of that melee coming around through the chicane and through the source. But it's looking like still we're going to get through this clean with the 25 slipping wide. That opens up the door for Evan Campbell. And one truck off the road as we have that one go around. It's Corey Barrett.
Yeah, Corey Barrett, unfortunately, having that car get loose on him. It will happen if you go too fast over Radion with these trucks, because you can almost, not quite, but darn near jump them. Oh my gosh. Justin Hall also have the moment here. We'll take a look at this one for Corey Barrett.
And then you mentioned Justin Hall going around as well. So that was the incident there with Ryan Murphy. And all things considered, did a good job to lock it down and avoid going into the wall. And then seconds later at the back end of the Kimmel Straight, we cut away from it just as it happened. But this is Justin Hall getting absolutely sent Darren by.
Yes.
Into, what is that, Lapingle up there?
Lake Holm is what I have
Holm.
on my... Yeah, Lake Holm, which is the 2 turns after the Kemmel corner.
Where am I thinking Lapingle's from? 'Cause I remember that
being
somewhere.
It's not Spa that I'm aware of, but it's definitely a corner somewhere.
I'm sure it'll come to us eventually. Already almost a third of the way through this race. 5 minutes just about down to the boards, and we're not even done the second lap of action here tonight. Alexander Bueller has continued to maintain a strong run at the head of the field. This fight here that you're watching, the fight for the final positions for a transfer swap. Ron Wolf, Harrison, and Smith. 10th, 11th, and 12th. And back here, Jake Kasich, the first driver outside of the invert.
Yeah, and Kasich had a bit of a lockup first time in the chicane. Hopefully he has a better run here, because I think that's the only thing that's going to stop him from trying to take away one of the spots or join that melee right in front of him. As we get into the braking zone once again for the chicane for these 3 drivers, all going to bunch up almost. Run into Ringo Harrison, Kyle Smith. They all get it sorted. Henry Moore's looking to make another move there on the inside of Kasich. Gets it done really quickly.
The group going to continue to have moments here as Stefan Purcell pulls it to the inside. It just allows the field to have a moment around him. Oh, we have had a couple trucks go off the road, Ryan Murphy being one of them. So a bit of a mishmash there coming into the final chicane, starting lap number 3 with 10 minutes to go. And back up the hill.
Alex Coffer making the look. Keeps it tucked in.
Oh, and a bit of contact there, and around gonna go the 751. Harrison's gonna save it, but there was definitely contact there with here, Ron Wolf, and now off the road gonna go Kyle Smith.
Yeah, Kyle Smith trying to keep out of harm's way, gets too much curbing underneath those tires and has the car spin on him.
Jason Lee, John Combs, and more all trying to scramble it out here. Alex Coffer dropping to the tail. Ron Wolf getting into the mix as well. And overall, looking like this race going to get off to a very, very strong start. As Sean Nellen and Jeremy Castro getting through there as well.
Sean Nellen, Jeremy Castro getting the move done. Darren by amongst having another moment there coming out of Speaker's Corner, or No Name as it used to be called, after he got turned by Carson Callan.
Quite a few contenders still in it to win it here as we approach the halfway mark. In sprint racing action this afternoon, Ron Wolf and Henry Moore still scrambling, trying to fight for whatever spots they can wrestle together. Evan Campbell dropping, Gabriel Gonzalez dropping behind Evan Campbell. And into the chicane, Ron Wolf trying to fend off Henry Moore. Moore's going to go around the long way into the chicane and picks off the spot with ease.
Yeah, he had a great run out of Blanchimont and set him up for that lunge into the first corner. Jake Kasich once again having an issue there at the chicane. If I remember correctly, Jake Kasich struggling with this car, or this truck, I should say, this evening. Alex Coffer has been labeled as crashed up here at the La Source.
And there he is. Got got hung up on the sausage curve there, it looks like, and is just now getting back rolling. Tyler Agostino and Ron Wolf thinking about going side by side into Rouge and Radion. They're going to sort that out. Whoa, a big tank slapper there for the 69. Nearly sends that car around and somehow holds it underneath him. What a save there for Tyler Agostino. Take another look.
And right along with Tyler Agostino as he comes up here. Not as much enough lift there. Going to have a tank slapper over that curb.
Great
have
save.
a little bit more clearance, but fast hands making that easy work.
Well, they will continue to duke it out here. Ringo Harrison trying to chase after Ron Wolf. This fight here for the final position for the top 12 invert. So it is a very, very important one between Wolf and Harrison.
Yeah, it's going to be important for them where whoever ends up in front in this battle gets to be on pole for the feature race. I gotta imagine Ringo Harrison wanting to get back in front of Ron Wolf, or trying to get in front of Ron Wolf, sorry, if possible by the end of this, but he does have to slow down to serve real quick so that way he doesn't get flagged too seriously.
And Alex Coffin off the road again, this time, believe that to be just shy of Stavolo, and it is. You see Stavolo just at the distance, and he's just going to have some fun with it. Can't say blame him.
No, I can't. I think he's been having fun with the whole time. When he went off in La Sorte, I think he just came by to stop in and check in with Stefan Purcell, who's been sat.
Sorry, Tyler Carlton thought just went in way hot. He managed to somehow get it slowed down, though.
Good. Great driving there from Tyler Carlton, trying to keep in front of Alex King, who's right behind him for 14th.
There is one other driver just sitting off the road and watching off of the sidelines. That is Stefan Purcell, who's just having a grand old time down there.
Yep, just hanging out, taking a watch from the outside of La Source. Alex Coffin stopped by. That's when he went off in La Source early on that we talked about.
Well, several drivers continuing to fight this one out amongst one another as Alexander Bueller holding on with a 1 second advantage up in front. And a good chunk of the battles here started to drop away, save for Giovanni Romano and John Combs.
I would say one that hasn't dropped away is this battle here that you're talking about. Giovanni's slowly been reeling in John Combs over the course of the past couple laps, and now I think as Giovanni continues to make this car, or this truck, excuse me, probably be getting those interchanged all night, has finally gotten a little more speed out of it with a 225.95, 4 seconds faster than John Combs. So I get the feeling there might be a look for a pass here coming into Campos 1, Campos 2, maybe Stavlo. We'll have to see.
And there's Coffert, still enjoying himself.
As I would say he is wont to do.
He's earned it.
His silly season.
He's got a lot of wins under his belt. He's earned it. Battles continue on. 3 minutes to go. Will this be the white flag of the line? I believe it is going to be 2 to go this time by, unless these guys were to really, really slow it down.
We'll have to see. Got 20 seconds to get to that start-finish line, though I get the feeling they would have thrown it by now if it was the white flag.
Oh, yeah. And confirmation, this is 2 to go this time by.
Fantastic. 2 more opportunities for a couple of drivers that are still in battles. Giovanni Romano, John Combs, just talked about.
Hey, he's got a friend.
Oh. Of course he does. Jeremy Castro.
Why would he
joins? Yeah. Some quality bonding time with one of his teammates.
Bueller's had an issue. Scott Fleming suddenly pounced. The gap was up to a second. That has been run down. Might have had a slowdown penalty coming around.
I think so.
And that has allowed for Fleming to close right up to him.
I think it's a slowdown for Eau Rouge Radion complex. I'm trying to see if I can pinpoint exactly. Yeah, he goes over that curbing too much on the inside of Radion, which means he will get a slowdown, which he was trying to serve. And that has brought this fight back into contention between the drivers. Alexander Klenk also in the mix here now as a result.
Well, Scott Fleming and Alexander Klenk scrapped it out for first, second, and third. Jason Lee and Henry Moore still fighting this one out. And it will be one lap to go in the sprint race here at the line. You know, considering they called this the Eau Rouge Wrecking Cruise, there hasn't been a whole lot of actual wrecking here this afternoon.
Not yet. We still have an hour-long feature to go. Potentially a Code 69 in there somewhere. So it's very possible.
"20 seconds to go. Klenk, Fleming, Bueller, all within a second for the lead of this race. White flag officially waving this time by. And we start the final trip around. Half a second. Scott Fleming with a much better run, and around goes Klenk. He's going to recover.
Yeah, Klenk keeps together. Scott with a better run. Alex doesn't have the slowdown. Bueller's able to keep it on track this time by. We'll see if there's a lunge in a couple corners time. Remember Scott having a pretty good run through Lake Holm after Kemmel Corner here. Buxells for the final time. Waiting to see when the lunge is going to happen from Scott, if he has pace to close the final 4 tenths that separate these two drivers.
Scott Fleming still holds within 0.7 of a second. That extends to 8 as Bueller doing a solid job on trying to maintain momentum up the road. They're going to pass by some of their stricken friends in the dirt who seek to make their lives difficult.
I'm saying, I don't think it's really stricken as much as choosing to do something other than racing on the racetrack.
They're not even racing, they're just there. They're existing and having a good time.
And that's, I guess that's all that matters, as long as you have fun. That's the whole point of sim racing, right? Have fun.
Bueller coming around into the final chicane, pulling the gap out to 1.5 seconds, and unless something big happens on the exit of this corner, oh man, is Clay center in deep. Yeah, unless something
narrowly avoided.
Unless something happens here in La Source, it's over. Alexander Bueller seeking to take home the sprint race win. And around gonna go Scott Fleming. I don't think Fleming hasn't realized the race isn't over yet. I don't think he realizes.
No, I don't think he does either.
Alexander Bueller out of the final corner, and he's gonna walk it off to the start-finish line. Klenk comes home second, Fleming back in third. Just now realized, oh crap. Ronenberg comes across third, and then it's going to be Henry Moore's up 25 positions to fourth. Fleming will take home fifth, and then it's Romano, Lee, Bright, and Tucker. Combs with the top 10. Augustino will finish starting the front row off cycle, and Ringo Harrison will be the pole sitter in the main event.
You were talking about this carnage outside of Eau Rouge and Radion. I think it has arrived.
That's a nice little flip there.
Yeah. Turned it into a top, spinning topper, Beyblade, or whatever the heck you want to call it.
Battle for 20 coming to the line. Corey Barrett and Ben Williams. It's going to be Barrett that wins out on that one. And well, with all of that said and done, racing action draws to a close. And we will take a rundown of course, those. Well, we'll show you the top 10, of course, that come home from the sprint race here this afternoon. Main event action coming up in a moment. Stay with us as we get set for a wild one.
Rev TV brings the world of motorsports into your home with over 100 live race series such as MotoGP, IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship, Extreme E, World Superbike, and the newly launched all-electric E1 series. From 2 wheels to 4, from land to sea, your destination is Rev TV.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to Green Flag TV, where we are seconds away from kicking off a racing action here for yet another stellar outing here at the Circuit of Spa-Francorchamps. Once again, welcome to Green Flag TV. My name is Nolan Rempel alongside Acinni. We're bringing you all of racing action from start to finish here on this spectacular Wednesday night. Fen, quite a wild sprint race that we had. Died off a little bit near the end, but should be a good 1 hour of main event action coming up.
Oh, certainly, especially if we get one of those Coach 69s floating around. I get the feeling we'll see a bit of what we saw at the start once again, and maybe a little bit more of a crazy Rouge on the restart. I would have to imagine it might be one they suggest to do single file instead of double file just to prevent some craziness. We'll see.
All of this with 30 seconds still left to go. Honestly, if I had to pick a driver to win this one, I'm thinking Henry Morse. He was up 25 spots by the end of the sprint race there in just 7 laps, 15 minutes. Nothing to say he can't make up another, 6 or 7 within the first 5.
I would have to imagine that's very possible. Giovanni Romano, another one I saw, one of the big movers there. With how Giovanni Romano starts, it might be something we see him end up either, well, could be anywhere, especially if we get a Code 69. Plenty of opportunities there for both of those drivers. I'd have to imagine both of them going to be on the podium tonight. So maybe alongside Alexander Bueller, if he gets up in there.
Likely so. We'll take a rundown of your official starting grid then here for main event action coming on up. As it is going to be the likes of Ringo Harrison starting this race from pole alongside Tyler Augustino. Row 2 in the grid, it's John Combs and Austin Tucker. From there, row 3, Chris Bright and Jason Lee. Row 4 with Giovanni Romano and Scott Fleming. Row 5, Henry Morse and Eric Ronenberg. Back to the field then, it's Alexander Klank and Alexander Bueller, Ron Wolf and Alex King, then of Matt Dupuis, Tyler Carlton, Kyle Smith, Evan Campbell, Corey Barrett, Ben Williams, Darren Bai, Carson Catlin, Greg Beckman, Justin Hall, Gabriel Gonzalez, Ryan Murphy, Sean Nolan, Chris Flames, Zita Condi, Adam Joseph Balehat, Jay Kasich, Ryan Verhulst, Jeremy Castro, Stephen Purcell, and Alex Coffer round out the 35 truck field.
As they get themselves on the grid and get ready for an hour of racing, I gotta imagine this is probably a 2-stop race would be my guess, given the 71% fuel capacity.
Likely.
So I'm excited to see how the pit strategy also plays a factor in, especially when you get a Code 69 and how that throws a curveball for some of them, depending on if they're planning to drive pretty conservatively or more aggressively.
Well, the fight's going to keep on going here as Ringo Harrison going to get set to close this one out. And, well, Augustino, Combs, Tucker, Bright, and more, all first through 5th here. Most of the grid left ready to go, just waiting on Austin Tucker in the top 4. Still waiting as well on Romano, Morse, and more. Of course, 7 cars look like they're going to start this race from pit road.
It, as is their usual desire, to start from pit road, also to save themselves maybe from a little bit of the chaos that usually happens during lap 1 of either the sprint or the feature race.
So all of this as the starting grid officially going to draw to a close, and lights flick on. And it's go, go, go once again. A bad start from Austin Tucker, 4 wide for a brief moment down the front straightaway as they make their way down into a Rouge for the first time tonight. Tyler Augustino leading the way up the hill as drivers fire up and over the top, trying to see if they can hold it together. They held it together just fine for the sprint race. 1 or 2 trucks out wide. Those are drivers coming down to pit road and fanning out 3 wide down the straightaway into turn number 2, as those drivers coming out of pit road filter out right behind the field.
Yeah, not much separation for them, but enough
Trouble
to get into Lake Combs as Cofford runs into Jay Kasich before they even get to Kemmel Corner.
Pretty big whack there into the Armco that Alex Coffer took behind Eric Ronenberg and Scott Fleming, or just in front, sorry. It's going to be Ronenberg picking up the spot from Fleming as everyone else goes 2 by 2 wide. Coming down through the hairpin. Oh, we got a big mess coming down the stretch in towards Speakers. Bandit right across the road. Goes Sean Nolan.
Sean Nolan trying to pick it back up, but unable to do so. A whole host of cars wrapped up in that incident.
Trying to get a look on what happened here coming down that straightaway. This will be the look.
You'll see it. Carson
Right
Catlin.
there.
Yep. Pit turns, gets knocked into it by himself, and then that is what sets the dominoes falling. A whole host of cars. Some good recoveries, but only a few there.
Sean Nolan, did you see there? He nearly tipped upside down in the midst of that crash.
Thankfully, landed on all four wheels so we can keep going.
Take another look here at Nolan as he's going to come down the hill, and watch as Catlin fires across the track up on two wheels and nearly upside down. And Fenn, if you know anything about these trucks, right, with the air packs they got, it does not take much to send these things upside down.
No, it does not. And the things they've done to try to deter it, I think, are mostly like guides, but there's not a whole lot of hard stops they have to keep themselves from flipping. If they go up, they tend to go over.
And so we make our way over to the second lap up through Rouge and Radion for the second time tonight. Scott Fleming going to go around the outside of Eric Rottenberg.
Eric Rottenberg going to try to hedge off Jason Lee behind to keep only losing one spot in the process. Sean Nealon cannot catch a break either. Getting loose coming out of Radion.
Darren by to the inside of Matthew Dupuis. Outside, sorry, Matthew Dupuis through Speaker's Bend as Dupuis holds on for the 14th place spot. Alexander Klenk also trying to fight this one out with Tyler Carlton, scrambling for 10th place on the grid. As drivers continue to experience carnage in their own right, and what a fight that these guys are putting up early on, and already we got another vehicle going around as Gabriel Gonzalez has spun it.
Yeah, coming out of Huon, it is one of those spots on the track that it is really easy to get loose, especially if you put in too much rotation. And you'll see here the aero wash as well has unsettled that car a little bit further than just normal. Just that rear end gives up the grip, tries to catch it, ends up spinning around the other way in the process.
And when those trucks go around, there's no recovering. They're going to snap back the other way really, really quickly. 30 seconds of the Code 69 window will officially open up tonight. Hard on the binders for Jason Lee, Ron Wolf in tow as they try to close up the gap to Eric Rottenberg and Scott Fleming just in front of them. That chicane, though, breaking quite a few drivers up.
Yeah, that it is. Seems to be kind of the bottleneck of the lap, especially when the cars go 2 to 3 wide through it.
Fast lap of the race early on set by Tyler Augustino. That is the first up to speed lap as the Code 69 window officially opens up. Scott Fleming under attack here from Eric Rottenberg. Will Rottenberg look for the inside this time by? He's looking. Is he going to go for the dive? Yes, he is. Scott Fleming going to leave the door open. Rottenberg gets the nose in, but Fleming's able to hold him back.
Yeah, Scott Fleming getting a better run through Kemmel Corner into Lake Holm, and Eric Rottenberg kind of attempting to pull a similar move to what Scott Fleming pulled the lap prior with a great run out of Radion through the Kemmel Straight to get the speed to pass. But Rottenberg unable to return the favor and keep them in the fight with Chris Bright, John Combs, Ringo Harrison, all three of them. These 5 cars all within a flash as well.
And this fight here for 22nd through 24, it's still kicking off as well. As Chris Bright and Scott Fleming going at it, 4th and 5th. Bright trying to see. Oh, and around, gonna go Scott Fleming.
He gets righted by Eric Cronenberg, but the damage already done. Ron Wolf gonna slip through Jason Lee, as well as maybe Alex Clank from where they started. That gap opening up, and then I think it's gonna be an interesting one, especially as Cronenberg feeling the desire to not keep the position he gained, which he feels unfairly, and I think that might be a fair one to mark that way.
So Scott Fleming retakes the 8th place spot. Now we look up to Klang as Klang tries to attack Jason Lee. Oh boy, Fleming having to scramble just a touch.
Try not to run into the rear end there. It's easy to do to miss, especially because these trucks don't really have brake lights, if I remember correctly. It's all paint on these NASCAR stock trucks. And therefore, you have to judge it entirely based on how fast that rear bumper ends up filling the windscreen. Sometimes it can be a hard thing to judge.
Plank, Lee, Fleming, and Cronenberg all going at it here. Look out as Alexander Bueller kicking the tail end out. As Jason Lee, Scott Fleming, and more all going at it here.
Jason Lee having a bit of a rough run out of Radion. Too wide into Kemmel Corner and Lake Holm.
Oh boy.
This is Scott Fleming seems to excel. He's taking that outside line through Kemmel Corner and making the most of it through Lake Holm into Bruxelles. Seems to have gotten himself a little bit of a gap between himself and Eric Cronenberg by way of Jason Lee. Ooh, sharp now. Tell Agostino keep setting faster laps.
Yeah, Agostino pulling the gap out now to 2.6 seconds ahead of Ringo Harrison. No signs of that fight yielding at all. Giovanni Romano, meanwhile, trying to go down the inside of Matthew Dupuis. Welcome on board the folks tuning in for the Premier Sim Racing Outlet Motorsports Truck Series. It's been a relatively quiet start to the 4th round of Beer League action here at the Circuit of Spa-Francorchamps. Almost 10 minutes in, and so far, drivers have been running mostly single file, not too many attacks going on, and I think a lot of this is because of, well, this track's hard to pass at for these types of trucks.
Yeah, this track, I'd say it's not super easy to pass at on a good day when you're in a car that has a little bit more room than these do. However, Henry Morris making us eat our words just a little bit as he dives past Kyle Smith into Blanchiment. But even more so, these trucks struggle to find the room with the speed is the big key thing there to get a pass done. Some slow Tyler Carlton there as he got into the braking zone wrong for the chicane. And slow speed. Alex King spinning out in the source.
You saw him lock the rears on the way in, and back end just swung around on him, and that was all she wrote.
Yeah, very easy to do, especially at low speeds with these cars, or trucks, excuse me. Yeah, doing those backwards all night. So forgive me.
And more trouble going around as Justin Hall, Ryan Verhulst, and Ethan Condy all appear to have gone around. This is what happened to them into La Source. Huge dive on the brakes for Verhulst. Was never making that corner.
Yeah, was not making that corner. At least not the way that he had ended up getting into the braking zone there. Henry Morris continuing to pick off spots as he's working his way back up the order.
48 and a half minutes on the boards. 12 minutes already in the books here. This race going by in a hurry. If this race goes caution-free, anticipate this to only be about 25 laps long. One of the shortest races lap-wise you could have in beer league history.
I would have to imagine that would only be rivaled with if they ended up at something, which I don't imagine they would be without some proper clarification, something as long as the Nordschleife or Le Mans are the only tracks I would imagine we have a smaller lap count. So this bottleneck with John Combs, who's been all over the racetrack here the last couple of corners, trying to get that car settled back down, sees Ron Wolf trying to attack it at the chicane. Chris Bright having to take evasive maneuvers in the process. Oh boy.
A lot of beating and banging going on down there into the chicane that last time through. And down into La Source, the final corner. Still able to pull that together. Alex King, Matthew Dupuis, and Darren Bai. 15th through 17th. All scrambling it out there as well. And now they're looking for 3 wide down the stretch, but it's going to be King that pulls out in front.
Yeah, he pulls out in front, but Darren Bai has a pretty fantastic run here. He can keep that car right behind Alex King throughout. The Radion, the kind of where they lift and break a little bit. We'll probably see Darren Bai have a great, you see it there. Alex King did not have as successful a run. That's because he's trying to burn a slowdown that he got going over Radio.
Ron Wolf, Chris Bright, Scott Fleming, Alexander Klenk. Fighting this one out here. And now for second place. Off the road is Harrison.
Oh, yeah.
Holy cow. Talk about an unfair rejoin there. Causing trucks to go scrambling left, right, front, and center. Fleming gets through. So did Ron Wolf. And Harrison's rejoin shut down Alexander Klenk in a hurry.
Shut down Chris Bright as well. More Chris Bright than Alexander Klenk, who's hard on the binders and not running into Rico Harrison. And has caused both Eric Ronenberg and Henry Morse to rejoin this fight with all of them for the positions. Really, all these drivers now within a couple seconds of each other from front to back.
Klenk, Harrison, Bright, Ronenberg, and Morse. All of these drivers fighting this out. 45 minutes still to go. A long way left in racing action this afternoon. No end to the battles in sight. The fights we've had here are much, much closer than what we saw in the sprint races. Harrison goes around again.
Those tires, I think, are cooked, and that is probably what he's struggling with. And Jason Lee struggling to not run into him as well. You see him dive out of the way. Bright and Henry Morris going to go battling into La Source. Oh, Ringo Harrison.
For a third time in just one lap, spins, and this time going fully around and dropping him outside of the top 10.
Yeah, doesn't go into pit lane, though. It's going to be further issues for him.
Oh, boy.
Gets around.
Some of these guys keep thinking about going too wide into a Rouge Radion. How long do you think it's going to be before somebody actually commits to that bit?
I think we'll see it happen exactly one time. They'll wreck or something equally unfortunate, and then we'll see it never happen again.
Fighting this one out, 15th place, looking for 3 wide again as Alex King thought we're going down the inside. A lot of gravel being kicked up on the run out from Malmedy and down to Bruxelles. And Matthew Dupuis still holding on as Alex King drives around the outside door. Contact there as Dupuis squeezed him in, and he'll tuck back in line.
Well, tuck back in line. Alex Cover trying to find his own way around as well.
Chris Flams, Evan Campbell exchanging positions just behind for 20th place as well. While this fight for 13th on back remains contested, and so far not able to really make much ground here. Now, I know it looks like it's getting a little bit darker over here over Spa, but sunset nowhere close. It is 1:34 p.m. in sim time. These are just clouds that are covering the sun up, right? It's a pretty overcast day right now, and that's keeping track temps brisk at only 69 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yeah, it gives them plenty of room to work with, however. By there successfully. The new lighting model ends up making this track a lot darker when overcast hits more seriously than it used to. Oh, code 69, end of lap 8. I'm gonna call that one out.
Well, there you go. As Rob Wolf pulling off to the inside. Henry Morse getting out here as well. 42 minutes to go.
Trying to serve a slowdown.
And Chris Flams overshooting the pit box as he came down to pit road. He is going to be forced to come in for an extra long stop as a result. Agostino 8 seconds clear, and here's the fight for second behind him.
Yeah, John Combs, I think, trying to catch up a little bit, unable to do so with some of these laps, just running a little too wide, trying to find time here, and that's costing him to either get slowdowns or end up being slower. And now Scott Fleming, Alex Clank, Henry Morse all bottling up behind him. I imagine Scott and Alex are both waiting for their chance to get around and try to take the fight back to Agostino, who's now running away up the road before the code 69.
Almost 20 minutes down. And here we go, 3 wide for third place here. One car off the road as Henry Morse making quite a bold move. Scott Fleming cuts up the middle as a result, and Alexander Clank holding the inside. Who comes to pit road here? It's not going to be at the chicane, though. It's going to be in the middle of that straightaway out of La Source.
Yep, it's going to be in the middle of that straightaway, and they're going to keep running too wide throughout the chicane. It's going to be a drag race down to La Source. Oh, man, they're still side by side. Henry Morse and Alex Clank not yielding here. It's going to be interesting if they have to go down to pit road. Henry Morse finally backs off to allow himself to jump in.
Oh, here we go.
Oh.
Fights. Oh, no, look out as Combs hits the tires, and he's wedged it in. And it's a traffic jam entering pit road. This is what we were worried about, right? We were talking about this before the race. We said if one driver overshoots that, it's going to create a massive jam up, and John Combs is stuck, and he is fortunate that the car is stuck straight, so there's still just barely an opening for drivers to get through.
Tyler Carlton almost had a similar incident. Alex King finds himself in there. I think John Combs,
he took a tow.
Took the tow because that car was stuck.
Critically, most drivers have stayed out on the racetrack at a snail's pace at that.
Interesting.
And it's I see. It's because they had to wait for a driver to. I think they're waiting for drivers to catch up to them.
I think so.
That doesn't
figure out.
Doesn't track.
What is happening?
I mean, the code 69 is supposed to 69 miles an hour. They're not even going 69 kilometers an hour right now, let alone miles.
Yeah.
I think Giovanni Armada was the car they're waiting on to take up the lead of the race.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? He may have spun it.
Oh, yeah.
That would be my best guess as to why we had to wait extra long there. And I think that is exactly what's happened. Take a look back at this one. Along with Austin Tucker, by the way, who was the number 2 driver. And no, these were drivers that just slowed down. I am confused.
Maybe a communication where they were supposed to be.
Possibly.
I don't know. I don't know either.
That or they're just slowing up to deliberately let the pack catch them quick. Because obviously, the longer it takes for the field to catch up, the longer this Code 69 lasts. And you don't want to have these guys going too slowly. I think they were just waiting for drivers.
That makes sense, especially given how long the track is, how many kilometers of or miles of racetrack there are at Circuit de Spa. It's one of the longest tracks on iRacing. Austin Tucker looking to bump draft Giovanni Romano throughout Boulogne. What is going on?
I think they're just pacing.
Okay.
This is the speed they've elected to go. They are taking the kilometers an hour route instead of the miles an hour route this time around, which makes sense, right? I mean, these trucks are pretty slow. 69 miles an hour around several of these corners is faster than race pace.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, heck, remember the fiasco that we had at the Sonoma Raceway with the long layout, where the pace car would actually be going through faster than the cars could follow up. So it would often take a lap or more to catch with the tail end of the pacing line. And the reason for that is because those long layouts are traditionally only used in stuff like open racing, club racing, cars that can take corners at that speed.
Yeah, cars that have those downforce and maneuverability to make up and keep up with the pace car at that point.
The Code 69 window out for the first time today. Critically, not everybody's come down pit road. In fact, Romano, Tucker, and Dupuis have all opted to stay out. What do you make of this?
I'm curious if they're going to be going in here within the next lap or two. If they're trying to make it a one-stop with the idea that there's going to be a second Code 69 that'll take them to the end. But given the fact that they're getting double file here, we're starting two...
Here we are,
two restart lines.
A one-lap Code 69. I think that's the first time we've ever seen that.
Given how long this lap is when they're going at a pace speed, I'm not surprised.
Well, the field is caught up. Romano, Tucker, and Dupuis all continue to stay out on the racetrack. Now the question is, where do they go? They might go on the straightaway coming down towards La Source.
He a decent restart point, or they're going to go into the chicane, which will be even more hectic.
Oh boy, no kidding. And that's exactly what Romano's thinking as he is launched.
Oh, this is going to be a good one.
Right, it's about to be pandemonium here. Take a look back as the whole field cycles their way through. How about that? Very orderly restart into the chicane.
Look at them go.
See, they can get it sorted out if they want to.
So far, we haven't gone through Rouge yet.
Or Radillon.
Yeah, really Radillon's the one that we have to worry about. I say Rouge.
Let's focus on La Source first, right? The tightest corner of the racetrack. Getting through that La Source completely clean.
Oh, they're going too wide through Radillon and Rouge.
Why wouldn't they? You got to go at some point. Oh, hold on. Coach wants to get loose, and around goes Jason Lee. Lee fires off the road. Back into traffic. Somehow everyone misses him. Into the grass goes Jake Casey to avoid. And my goodness.
Oh, man. Well.
Jason Lee with a scary crash there. That could have been a huge incident at the top of the hill.
Absolutely fantastic heads-up driving from Jake Casey there to keep that car out of the side of...
Oh, boy. That is such a harsh impact into the wall. Taking a look here at Jason Lee, and then you'll ride on board as arriving on scene late is Jake Kasich. Cuts into the grass and just manages to get around it.
Yeah, avoids Tyler Carlton, who slowed down and not run into Jason Lee as well.
Oh, and out wide into the the gravel trap. Going to go Alexander Quegg. He just keeps it on the ripple strips.
Yeah, it's going to put him right ahead Eric Ronenberg, who's going to be looking to get past pretty quickly.
And so the fight continues. And one more truck off the road. That's Alex Coffin, and he has gone out wide almost to the tire bundles. Holding on, but just for now.
Oh, it's got. Oh.
Ay.
Oh, no.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Caused Chris Flams to get spun, trying to avoid Alex Coffer, who had that issue there just a moment ago. And he's going to collect the likes of Gabriel Gonzalez in that incident. But Gabriel Gonzalez able to get that car going back the right direction pretty quickly as a result.
Yeah.
3 wide into the chicane here.
Tiptoeing through. They got through just fine. This is what happened to Alex Cofford. Fast lap of the race at that time by Giovanni Romano. Cofford swings out wide. Oh, boy.
And you'll see after he rejoins, Chris Flams will end up being 3 wide for those drivers. Yeah, Chris Flams.
Right here.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, that'll do it.
Yep.
That'll do it. And collecting Gonzalez. And man, again, that truck nearly pitched upside down.
Thankfully, the gravel trap doing what it's supposed to do, slowing that car down.
Well, that's the one nearly pitched him over because it was digging in.
Also true.
It slowed him down, but it nearly was counterintuitive.
But everybody seems to have driven away from it. These continue to go side by side.
Oh, and around goes Clay.
Oh. Catches Scott Fleming in the process, but they get spun back around the right direction.
Not
Quickie
done
69
yet.
at the end of this lap as well.
Oh, boy. So this race going to get kicked into overdrive here before too long.
I think that's what Giovanni Romano and Austin Tucker were waiting for, as they can come down pit road pretty much free and clear now.
Yeah. For Matthew Dupuy and Ron Wolf, it's going to be a win for Wolf as Dupuy runs his truck into the gravel. Pulls it back on the road, but a little bit too late, while Giovanni Romano all by himself out of Blanchimont up to the final chicane. And this race looking like it's Romano's to lose unless something big happens here on pit stops.
Well, yeah, he's got to come in for the pit stop, though, because he hasn't done one yet. He's one of the 3 drivers I don't think I've seen come down pit road. So I'm curious to see where he ends up, where he cycles back into the pit cycle, or that out of the pit cycle, in terms of the field. As he peels in to get that pit stop done, I imagine we'll see Austin Tucker and Matthew Dupuy dive in as well as the rest of the field, I think, also diving in because they aren't good on fuel. They just need to top up.
Well, not all of them. Eric Ronenberg will stay out.
Okay.
And he's not the only one. Wright staying out. King staying out. Kyle Smith staying out. And others. So very split decision to come down pit road. Code 69 is officially out. And we'll jump ourselves back and be back with more action here in just a moment on Greenflight TV. Stay with us. Welcome back to Green Flag TV, where we are just about set to go back to Green Flag Racing. The field is doubling up. And with 27.5 minutes left to go, we are ready to duke it out one more time, Finn.
There we are. It's getting ready to go green. Eric Cronenberg is going to lead, or sorry, Chris Bright's going to lead us off. Around. Sorry, Eric Cronenberg.
Cronenberg leading the field around. Double file into some of the tighter corners of the racetrack. We have not seen a lot of side-by-side through these parts earlier on. It's usually a pretty single-file processional style of racing through here. That's not going to be the case this time when you force a restart in this area.
Yeah.
And looking like they get through clean for now. Yeah, we get through it.
Yep. We've gone through both Campus 1-2, Stablo 1-2, Curb, Paul Frere into Blanchiment. I think most of the drivers have sorted themselves out to be the proper single file and be the only good way to get through those corners.
Hold on, look out, look out. Ryan Verhulst, that was off the road. Somehow they are able to gather it up, but geez, that creates this whole melee coming down in towards the chicane.
Really wide.
And for the most part, it looks like, again, they're able to keep their wits about them.
You know, I am fantastically, I'm pleasantly surprised at how successful they are going through these tight corners with trucks. To me, they're just being a little more careful with them. They continue to go too wide through, well, I said something, I suppose.
That's rookie Sean Nolan going for a spin to the exit of La Source. Just a single truck incident, though. No harm, no foul. Under halfway home for second place.
Have slowdown penalties for going over Radion too quickly. Taking too much curb.
Chris Bright takes over second place at the head of the field while these guys still going 2x2 wide. John Combs being pushed out wide by Evan Campbell. Getting physical here in Spa. But Campbell fights this one out.
Yeah, ends up running wide. It's always frustrating to duke it out with someone and then immediately get go off track, have a moment of your own. Looks like John Combs having a similar problem. All this melee. These cars probably once again break up pretty quickly.
Hard on the binders for Alexander Bueller. Justin Hall right behind, trying to make some ground as well. And behind them, Jeremy Castro attacking Austin Tucker. Quite a few of the Chicken Runners cars mired deep in the field in this one.
Yeah, the Chicken Runners having a pretty rough race, and the Hal Satin group, kind of a tale of two cities at both ends of the grid.
Alexander Bueller and Evan Campbell continue on and into the gravel trap. There goes Bueller. He gathers it up. Justin Hall going around the, dropping to the field. Ron Wolf gets around him as he got a bit crossed up on the exit of Stavelo. Austin Tucker battles through into Blanchiment.
We might have a good run here, depending.
All's well ends well. Remember, these guys, most of them here are teammates, right, for the Chicken Runners crew. You can tell that by the sort of like white feathered pattern and around. Gonna go Castro.
Castro finds himself another Chicken Runners livery car.
Up front for the top 10, Romano and Augustino. 10 and 11, fighting it out. Henry Morse down the inside, and a Rouge, and Augustino slams the door shut in his face.
Yeah, says no thank you, but he's ended up going over Ryan, and then Henry Morse is going to get back around anyway.
Boy, these guys are just picking up the aggression here in the back half of this race, aren't they? As Kyle Smith gets around Scott Fleming. Evan Campbell side by side again with Ron Wolf. These guys have come to blows once in this area before. Tyler Carr looking like he may have just had a bit of an off up the road, but they're still side by side for 15th.
Yeah, side by side 15th, side by side for 13th up the road as they get into Speaker's Corner, I should say. Let's call it no name again. It's not quite that anymore.
Justin Hall and Matthew Dupuis continue on for 18th and 19th. Campbell and Wolf retain the gap here for the number 15 spot, while Austin Tucker, right behind these guys. He's going to go around through the inside, and Tucker secures the move.
Gets it done expertly well. That outside and inside and campus is always a fun one if you can get the timing right to keep along the side. What is the outside then becomes the inside of Campos 1 and 2. And that immediately builds a gap between himself and Evan Campbell to keep up with Ron Wolf. He's looking to get back up the order.
Augustino secures 10th place from Jake Kasich on the run towards Blanchimont after they nearly came to blows. And now into the chicane. Contact as King loses out to both Corey Barrett and Alex Crawford. He might lose out here as well to Alex Crawford, who was battling his way through the order. You saw Jake Kasich had to cut across the chicane right behind. But Alex Crawford fighting for a podium position now. Hard on the brakes, and they're looking for 3 wide right behind. And Kyle Smith, bit of a bumper from Kyle Smith. And still, they keep it going.
Yeah, Alex Crawford managed to break into the podium there with that one. And find his way, hopefully, up to where Corey Barrett is, but with a slowdown there as we follow along further back in the fields.
Jeez.
Those Flams getting it sorted out eventually.
Wow, for
Ryan
5th.
Ryan Verhulst with the drive-through penalty amongst all this chaos.
And that'll be for the incident limit, but right now Alex King finally getting single file after being double file for about half a lap there. Not looking to be deterred, though, as he wants to try and go at it again.
I mean, this feels like he has the pace. He has moments where I'm watching him really unlock the amount of power and the abilities that he has, but then it's getting marred by cars that are in front of him, and then trying to be too aggressive with the sends. I think it has cost him more than it's helped him.
All the way around, single file through this big, long train of cars. You'll ride on board here. Oh, hold on. Never mind. Ryan Verhulst with that drive-through spins around to the exit of Puan, and he's going to take Greg Beckman with him.
Unfortunately, Greg Beckman trying to avoid running into him, ends up finding him bumping into the door anyway.
Meanwhile, to Blanchimont, Alex King still fighting back against Henry Morse. Oh, and a big tank slapper there at the exit as here comes Morse. Round the long way into the chicane. Giovanni Romano up front.
Yeah.
And Morse finally has the pass done.
Finally does. I think he's trying to look to see if he can get past Romano as well. These two started from the back of the grid and now are battling each other once again.
Up the hill. Big run. Oh, sideways! And now Kyle Smith attacking Giovanni Romano. Down the Kimmel straight. But Romano's got to drive. Morse gets a drive with him. 18 minutes to go. Oh, look out. Hold on.
Alex King getting pushed into the wall there by Scott Fleming.
Bad spot to be stopped, and he's going to collect more.
Oh.
And we're not done yet. More drivers going around. Harrison now finds himself going the wrong direction.
It's sorted as well pretty quickly.
Man, that was a ride, and they're still wrecking up here.
Yeah, it's been a chain event of a few other cars as they all get tangled up with each other.
And they're still dooring off of each other here. One
Oh,
more goes into the wall. And another hit for Alex King.
Yeah.
This is all a chain reaction from what started coming into Lacombe.
Yeah. There's been a chain reaction since then, and that has really spread out the field. What few battles we have now. That whole train of cars that was separated by 3 seconds, now separated by over almost 10 seconds. Now.
Right on board here with Alex King.
See a moment here where he gets bumped forward here, but yep, there it is.
And
Scott
right
Fleming.
into the concrete. That's such a tough one. Go ahead.
No, I'll say he has to figure out how to get around there, and like you said, I think you're going for it. Such a tough thing to do.
It's a tough impact, but on top of that, right, it's one of the worst places that could have happened. And he's lucky he didn't fire. I fully expected to fire back across the racetrack and take out the entire battle group.
Yeah. But thankfully did not. I think we had some good heads on the swivel as well to keep their awareness up, and some great driving as a result.
Ryan Verhulst has just gotten his black flag clear. As Henry Morse takes that one away. 4th place up the hill for Morse as he now looks at the challenge against Corey Barrett for a podium.
Corey Barrett having a service slowdown as well, puts him back in 3rd. While we were looking at all that, with Alex Copper taking over 2nd, trying to run down the gap to Eric Roningberg, who's currently still 3 seconds ahead of him. These two, gonna duke it out too wide. Henry Moore's trying to go the long way around.
And Alex King has just had another incident. He has taken a toe to pit road. We'll look at that in a moment here. But right now, Henry Morris fighting for the final podium position with Corey Barrett. And this is going to go right down into Puan. And finally, Barrett is forcing you to recognize that he's not going to hold that one around the outside here.
Yeah, Henry Morris chopping off the nose as well.
Just for good measure.
Yeah.
And this is what sees Alex King out. Actually, this was the hit that took him out of the race. That was earlier
that is
on.
The one. Yep, that was the one with Evan Campbell. And then I think he jumped from there to pit lane, calling it a day.
Yes, he did. Code 69 window officially closed. Not like it would have mattered. We had 2 of them already today. There's Darren Bye rejoining the racing circuit after he just had a moment. Chris Bryant, Giovanni Romano. 2 wide. Putting him back out to single on the run down to Blanchimont.
Yeah, these 3 teammates I don't think want to cause too much incident with each other's races at this point. Hot Dognald's team, if I remember correctly.
Several teams still making names for themselves, right? And it's really hard to cut your teeth in this season because of just how wildly different all the vehicles here drive from each other, right? I mean, heck, we got the Pro 2 Light Trust coming back up next week, but critically in that race, drivers are going to be able to beat and bang a lot more effectively than you can here.
Yeah, certainly. They have so much more room, and with how responsive those cars are, so much more ability to recover as well with those cars. As we see a bunch of cars dive into pit lane and top up on fuel. Chris Bright getting a black flag in the process. Probably for speeding on pit road would be my guess.
You're probably right, and you will be correct, as there he is in pit road. So down. Oh, and now around. Going to go Ronenberg in the middle of the Kimmel Straight.
Oh.
Looking like just a minor incident. Probably, if I had to guess, picked up the throttle too aggressively, trying to get up through the gears. But gets back underneath him. It's a back rolling, no other drivers involved.
Ooh, oh no, yeah. I think he just got it loose, clipping the grass, and then had the throttle in like you'd said. And that pair of things causing that car to go just diving into the grass on that little bend after Radion down the Camel Straight.
Fight for the lead started to pick up as well. Henry Morris, you know, we always talk about Alex Cofford being the driver to, you know, just run away with these races so frequently all the way out in front. There is a reason why Alex Cofford is one of the winningest drivers in beer league competition. Right? I mean, this is a driver that has won a whopping 25 times. But could Henry Morse be a driver to rack up his 5th win of the season, as he is really threatening Alex Cofford?
Well, setting about, I'd say 4/10 a lap this most recent time by. We'll see if it changes again. Henry Morse, I think, is setting a faster lap time at the moment. I think Alex Cofford playing to a fuel margin, and especially with a 227 out of Alex Cofford and a 225.8 out of Henry Morse, we'll see that gap continue to shrink down as we get into the closing stages here.
When does Morse opt to make the look? He can close right to the back bumper. He can taste that Alex Cofford might be vulnerable. So far, Cofford has not had the fight to keep up with Henry Morse. Not going to go for the move just yet. Drive-through penalty for the 837 of Sean Nolan for incident limit.
Yeah, as well as the 71 of Evan Campbell for the incident limit as well. I imagine Henry's just waiting for the moment to make the look and find his way around. I think Alex Cofford is going to make that car as wide as possible, but
getting absolutely shut down, and that's enough. Cofford's just been given a black flag for incident limit. Running out wide is gonna cost him, and all of a sudden, Morse doesn't need to fight him at all.
Yeah, Morris is just gonna make the look, make the lunge, try to get it done to prove the point. I think at this point, I think he'll know that there's a black flag waiting for Alex Cofford at the end of this lap with just under 10 minutes to go. But he's going to try to swing up the inside anyway. See how these two fare into Blanchimont. Oh, they're going to bump. Neither going to lift. Henry Morse finally going to get the job done.
Man, that's not the way you want to win a battle, though, right? You want to, you want to be able to fight this one out, not have it end like this.
Yeah.
Well, that effectively seals the deal for the win, unless someone can really run down Henry Morse in the closing laps. And the only driver that I think that has a realistic chance of that would be Giovanni Romano, 2 seconds back.
I would like to believe so. It's possible. Depending. Giovanni Romano currently, I think, 2 seconds behind Henry Morse and not gaining any time. This is the first lap I think Giovanni Romano set a faster lap time, and it was by only less than a tenth.
Yeah, it's not enough.
A little over a tenth, but it's not going to be enough over 10 minutes if he doesn't pick up the pace. So we'll have to see. Oh my gosh, pandemonium breaking out in the back drop of us talking about this fight for the lead.
Yeah, someone's just had a moment coming out of the final chicane, but they remain 2 by 2 wide. Down the stretch here, Corey Barrett and Chris Flams. Double file as they make their way up and towards Rouge and Radion, down the hill before they bottom out and fire back up. And now 2 wide of the exit as Ronneberg comes under fire from Flams. Behind, Harrison's involved as well. They will not go 3 wide, though.
Yeah. Flam's having a better run initially and then having to back out to not get too involved there. Barrett taking the look up just ahead of these drivers to get around Kyle Smith.
And Gabriel Gonzalez also on offense here as he fights around Darren Bai, but Bai looking for the crossover through Pouan, can't get there. And so Gonzalez remains clear. Kyle Smith and Corey Barrett just a little bit behind. Under 10 minutes to go. And only about 3 laps or so are left in this one.
Yeah, I would say 3 laps, depending on how those laps go.
And taking a look right now at Henry Morris as he comes across, and yeah, that's going to be a pretty safe 3 laps there from here to the end.
Yeah, I would say unless Henry Morris has an incident, I would have to imagine it's pretty safe for the moment. Still setting a faster lap time than Giovanni Romano. This battle, however, I think is nowhere close to being decided, and I think it'll run down to the end, especially as Barrett looks around the outside to get past Smith.
I have to agree. Corey Barrett gets through. Eric Ronenberg not too far away.
Ryan Verhulst with a 0-second hold for 55x incident limit.
Oh boy, really? That's a stop and go is what that means then.
Yes. Yep.
Jeez. You know it's bad when you hit 55 incident points in a race.
Yeah. It's been a rough race for Ryan Verhulst. I think we've seen that truck involved in a litany of incidents here.
Corey Barrett out wide. That opens up the door for Eric Ronenberg to pick off yet another spot with 5 minutes to go.
And curious as to what the battle plan is for Darren Bai, who sits at the front of this train. Currently in 11th. I have to imagine he's also getting close to Gabriel Gonzalez, who's just ahead of them.
Yeah, he's trying for it as Ronenberg.
Oh, got forced too wide.
Yeah, gonna try to go around through Speaker Bend, and he's gonna have to go for a major over-under here. Bai clips the gravel trap, though. This could open the door. There you see the look. Eric Ronenberg gonna go down the inside here into Pouan, and just like that, Ronenberg is through.
Now, Darren Bai is holding up his teammate, Corey Barrett. I have to imagine that would be frustrating. This look from Corey Barrett. I have to imagine Darren Bai is going to let him through to keep the team going in the right direction. Big look out of Gabriel Gonzalez there as well. Getting the rear end loose.
Yeah, so far, Corey Barrett will look to pick off the 11th place spot from Eric Ronenberg, and Gonzalez still retains a top 10 position. All of this in the fight for 10th with 3 minutes left in the race, and Corey Barrett trying to go around the outside into the 5. He's loose. He loses the back end. He's going to cut across the corner, and that's going to cost him major spots. Gonzalez will be able to retake the 10th place spot.
That he will. Eric Ronenberg will also be trying to tie up with him. In the background, however, Ringo Harrison having his rough night of spins, and that continues. A look down the outside, Corey Barrett trying to hold on to the position despite giving up the time, and that's going to cause him to be side by side with Gabriel Gonzalez. And this Eric Ronenberg is going to make it 3 wide, going down towards Eau Rouge and Radillon.
And they're going to
get it sorted.
Oh, keep it together, only just though. As Eric Ronenberg, Gonzalez, Barrett, and Moore continue to fight it out. They got 2 laps to decide what is so far a mammoth battle for the last spot inside the top 10.
Yeah, I think Eric Ronenberg might have the opportunity to run away here now that he's free and in clear air. 8 seconds up the road is Matthew Dupuis, who's in his own fight with Austin Tucker. So let's see if that gap changes and if Corey Barrett's able to get around Gabriel Gonzalez without issue.
Corey Barrett, Gabriel Gonzalez for 11th now. And Ethan Connie just given a drive-through penalty for breaching the 40 incident point limit. Gonzalez and Barrett. The fight now for 11th as Ronenberg starts to pull away.
Yeah, and Darren by John Combs just behind them, also getting into a duel. Let's see both of those as they get through Campos 2.
A 10th and a half. Minute and 20 left of the race as Gonzalez and Barrett still hold 11 to 12. Right behind them, Darren By and John Combs going to go side by side of the run to Blanchimont. But John Combs going to lift and allow for Darren By to take that spot back.
Yeah, John Combs is looking for the run out of Blanchimont and out of the chicane. Idea there. Simran Gonzalez having the issue there.
Oh boy.
Tries to rejoin. That's going to see him.
And it's mistakes like that that have caused this fight to remain close, right? Because one error causes everyone to just bunch up once again.
Okay, that was design. Chris Flams had flown across the background of the shot that I was looking at, and I was trying to figure out what had happened there. He went flying offline and cut the chicane. Anyway.
Well, this fight showing no signs of yielding it now. Double final in a round. Gonna go John Combs. Can't go too wide through Radion. And he's going to nick Evan Campbell, who gets into the fence. Broken suspension. That should be repaired, which it will now be. While Henry Morse already making his way around through Stabilo.
Yeah, getting around through Stabilo, setting his personal best, the most recent time by as well, keeping that gap at about 2.5 seconds. The fight for the bottom step of the podium, however, heating up in the final couple corners. Alex Clank is caught up with Tyler Agostino.
Final lap. Giovanni Romano nowhere close. And this fight looking like it is all for naught as Romano will make his way into the final couple of corners, hot on the heels of Henry Morse, but he will not have the chance to get there. Giovanni Romano through the final corner, and it is going to be Henry Morse right in front of him, who takes his 5th win of his beer league career.
Giovanni Romano coming home in second. Tyler Agostino having a great battle with Alex Clank there in the closing lap, but he will end up getting a decent run with Alex Clank after a spin from Alex into the chicane. We'll take the ball 3rd and 4th.
Meanwhile, the fight for 11th between Darren By, Kyle Smith, Gabriel Gonzalez, and Corey Barrett still yet to be decided. Oh, a big slide there for Corey Barrett on the way in, but he's able to hold it together. And a equally big snap for Gonzalez.
Just up the road, Eric Ronenberg lunging on Matthew Dupuis.
Oh, great job to park that truck on the apex.
That's going to keep that truck, in front of him. Eric Ronenberg getting that position done in the final corner of the racetrack.
And Gonzalez, I think, is out of fuel.
I think so. It looks like it.
And he's coasting down the hill, just using gravity to help him across. But he will finish a respectable 14th.
Hey, He's still at the tail end of the group that he was fighting with in terms of the positions. Nicely done there.
And the last fight here to the line, it's Purcell and Catlin squaring off. Catlin maintaining the run of the apex. Can Purcell go for a big over and under lunge here? Carson Catlin tracking out wide. Here comes Purcell, and Purcell gets back around him. And Catlin's also out of fuel.
Yeah, I'd say Catlin, I think, is also out of fuel. We've seen 2 green Hail Satan, or Satin, excuse me. Let me say that the right way. I meant to say it the right way and said it the wrong way. All right, anyway, Hail Satin truck running out of gas going down to Rouge.
And well, we are going to take a run back here and show you the official post results. That was one of the final fights that we had ongoing for us here this afternoon. Boy, quite the ride that we had underwent here at Spa. As it's going to be Henry Morse coming home ahead of Giovanni Romano. Tyler Acinni finishes 3rd, Klenk in 4th. And then it's Bueller, Wolf, Lee, Tucker, Rottenberg, and Dupuis for the top 10.
In 11th is going to be Darren Bai. 12th is going to be Cal Smith, Corey Barrett, Gabriel Gonzalez, and Jake Kasich. Maybe I'm just messing up vowels today. He's going to be top 15. Tyler Carlton, Chris Bright, Ringo Harrison, Ryan Murphy, and Greg Beckman are your top 20.
From there, it's Mailhod, Purcell, Catlin, Combs, Flams, Condi, Campbell, Nellen, Verhulst, and Coffer for the top 30.
And the final 5 drivers here is going to be Scott Fleming, Alex King, Justin Hall, Jeremy Castro, and Ben Williams. All of those drivers do not take to the checkered flag. I don't think I saw Ben Williams on track at all tonight.
Ben Williams, the lone driver that did not make the start here this afternoon, and quite the battle that drivers fought their way through here in this one, and we will get the chance to give a chit-chat in to all of the contenders that come home, numbers 1, 2, and 3 this afternoon. And we'll start things off first and foremost with Henry Morse, the driver that will walk away with his 5th Beer League win of his career. And Henry, this one was looking to be quite the fight between you and Alex Cofford, and then Cofford got the drive-through penalty for exceeding the instant limit while trying to fend you at bay and chop your nose. How do you feel taking a win in that fashion?
I didn't know if it was that or if he ran out of field. That's interesting to learn, especially considering we had a little door-to-door while we were racing. I hope he's not too upset at me. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. I was so happy when I saw that we spun this track. Normally this is a track I sort of dread racing at, just because it's so overdone and it's an F1 track, so you're just kind of playing, drive around the white lines. But I knew that in this particular vehicle, it would be super fun. We were sliding around the whole time. We'd take several whole seconds to find full throttle from the time you start getting on the gas pedal through a lot of these sweepers. So it was a really fun dance out there, and I was lucky to have a ton of pace. I saved fuel early on in my final stint, and I was able to pull the trigger earlier than Gio was, and I think that is what won me the race, because once he and I were both flat out, we were pretty much identical on pace, but I had a gap to him just because I was able to pull the trigger a little earlier.
Well, so far, this stock truck certainly seems to have been, fitting your forte here, so to speak. The Pro 2 light trucks, obviously just around the corner. Do you agree with those trucks as well, or are you more one for the oval stuff?
I think I'm better at driving this truck. I don't know why I struggle with how little power that truck has. I think I'm really good at vehicles where you have to take a super long time to modulate the throttle, and that thing is really doesn't have a whole lot of power, so I'm not able to exercise that particular skill set. And yeah, I didn't feel like I had much pace last round. I was barely able to sneak by with a P5 with a couple of lucky last lap passes at Homestead. So yeah, I wouldn't expect me to be in contention for the win next week, but I'll for sure be looking to pick up some good points. I know I'm sitting pretty well in the standings right now, so next week will just be about getting what points I can.
And obviously, we don't know where we're going to be at this coming week as well, with these guys having moved to Spain for the track on the day of instead of the week before. What do you think of that?
I think it's awesome. It prevents people from practicing. I personally, I don't, I'm not, I don't get home from work until about halfway through the practice session. So even if it's spun like at the beginning of the day or the day before, I wouldn't really benefit. So I think it's great to prevent giving an advantage to people who have a whole ton of time to practice. And I do think it's a little bit of a bummer. Also, you could argue that if there a lot of people in this series are newer to iRacing and they might not be as familiar with the track. So, like for example, last week or 2 weeks ago when we got Homestead, like if you're newer to iRacing, you probably haven't driven Homestead before. And if you're newer to iRacing and you're working and you get home and you're like, oh, I have 20 minutes to figure out where left and right is, that's pretty tough. But for me, I've been on this game for 10 years. I know pretty much all the tracks. So for me personally, I think it's great. And just before we go, I want to give a shout out to my family and my friends that are watching. Glad I was able to put on a good show for you.
And congratulations on taking home win number 5 of your career here. And we'll see you again next week for more with the Pro 2 Light Trucks. Henry Morris comes home number 1 here this afternoon, and it's going to be Giovanni Romano, the Canadian that gave it his all to try and run him down to the closing stages. Fan, you're standing by with number 2.
I am indeed. The closing stages, unfortunately, seemed like just a little more pace out of Henry Morris than yourself. Was the fuel game? Do you think that was part of the strategy call that led to his win, or what were your thoughts?
It was the main problem. I saved too much, so I was thinking maybe we're going. Well, I just didn't have a good idea of how long it was going to go after the last restart. So I just started saving fuel because I wasn't sure, and ended up being probably way too much. So I started turning it on with a couple, 2, 3, maybe like 3 laps left, but it was too late at that point. But I mean, that's how it goes sometimes, and well played to Henry. He got it right.
Absolutely. Remind me again, I think we talked about this last time we were out with the NASCAR stock trucks. You are a big fan of them, am I correct?
Yes.
Awesome. With this being our second week, you've had a chance to run through the 3 cars we've run, or 3, it's 2 trucks and 1 open wheeler Formula V car. Which of the 3 are you most excited about driving for the rest of the season? If it's the NASCAR Pro trucks, or NASCAR stock trucks, excuse me. That makes sense, but what are you thinking?
This. I really like this. They're just very, very fun to drive. This so much. I mean, it's difficult to handle. The tire management is a big part of it as well. You really got to take care of the rear tires. There's I don't know, just they sound good too. That's always a good part.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, definitely.
Especially coming down the
favorite.
Kimmel straight there. Pretty fantastic. I think you're, from what I've understood so far, you're also a big fan of Spa, correct?
Spa's, I think, in the middle for me. Like, it's a good track.
Right.
I'm not crazy about it like a lot of people are, but it's definitely a great track, right? I mean, it's a classic, but it's not in my like top 5 or anything, you know.
Fantastic. My gosh, I had like a series of things I wanted to ask you, and apparently it went out the window.
Ask me about the yellows.
Yeah, the yellows. I was about to think about that. The first caution, you didn't pit, and was that the plan to pit? Were you hoping for a second caution to give you the ability to pit?
So the first one was perfect for me because I was as I was working my way through the field, I was just saving fuel because I knew there was a caution was going to come out, and was kind of thinking what I did I was thinking of doing the same thing I did at Interlagos, where I would just try to one-stop the race, taking advantage of the fact that there's a guaranteed yellow. So yellow came out like 20 minutes in, 19 minutes in or something. So I'm like, hey, perfect, I'll just stay out, and then I've got enough fuel that I can get to the pit window where I can just pit one more. I only have to pit once.
Yeah.
And then we got the quickie yellow, which I was in a perfect spot, and then we got the quickie yellow and just basically deleted my entire strategy, and then kind of. So then I was like, okay, well, I got to pit and just try and get. And then my strategy from there was get to the end, and that was still. I mean, it was the best strategy from there. And there's a lot of people who stayed out there and had to come back down. So it's not like it. I still got the call right, but it's. I had like a huge. I mean, not hugely, but a very solid lead that I was happy with that ended up getting a race. So, but that's how it goes. That's why sometimes the cautions help you, sometimes they don't, and
Yes.
it's just part of it, I guess. Makes it
Absolutely.
interesting.
It does indeed. Sometimes they go your way, sometimes they don't. We go out to the Pro True with the Pro 2 light trucks. There we go. English apparently is not my forte tonight. Will we expect to see you back on the podium? I know you're not as much of a fan of them as you are the NASCAR trucks. Are you looking forward to them?
I'm gonna be honest. I really hated that race, and it's
Okay.
very rare I hate a race, or
Mhm.
I'm. It was. I'm not gonna get into it, but it was not enjoyable. So,
Understood.
I might skip it. We'll see what the track is. I'm gonna play it off the track. I might take the evening off. We haven't really had an off week this season either. I might need a week off, but we'll see. We'll see what the track is. Maybe if it's something cool or I'm interested in, and you might see me out there.
All right. Well, we hope to see you on track if we get the chance. If not, we'll see you when you come back for the Formula V's the following week. Unless you also are going to take 2 weeks back to back.
Nah, I can't skip the V. The V's fun.
All right. Then if we don't see you out next week, we'll see you out with the V's and hopefully see you back on the podium. Anything else I missed?
No, I think that's everything.
All right,
And
cool.
yeah,
Well,
thanks.
congrats again on the podium, and we hope to see you back soon. I'm going to say that more loosely. So,
Right, thank you.
and of course, and that was Giovanni Romano who came on P2 this evening.
Tyler Agostino, the driver that finishes his race off in third here this afternoon. A distant third at that. Tyler, you were 12 seconds off Giovanni Romano, 3 seconds clear of the trucks in front of you. Overall, relatively quiet night for the 69 entrant once he got clear traffic.
I mean, I was, doing a little bit of fuel saving in that last stint, and I had Clank and Bueller both tracking me down, and had to kind of bleed off a little bit of a slowdown on that last lap. So a little bit of excitement towards the end there, a little more than I wanted. But yeah, I think I kind of knew that Henry and Gio were going to kind of walk away from me. It was a matter of time before they got around me on that second code 69 restart. I think I did pretty well in traffic overall, but they're so fast. They're going to pull a massive gap on me no matter the time.
Overall, though, still a good result for you here this afternoon. With the trucks, with the vehicles effectively changing every single race, we've seen a lot of drivers actually struggling, being unable to really close the gap all that much to drivers in front. The learning curve is much higher. Where is it sat for you so far this season with the selection we've got?
Yeah, it's hard to build a rhythm, right? Like, especially when you're going from the Formula V to this car. I think I'm finding the V pretty comfortable because I've got some experience with it. I'm finding these trucks okay, and I'm able to adapt to them all right. And the Pro 2 is definitely a weak spot for me, and I'm not really sure what to do about that. So we'll see how next week goes. But yeah, that's just kind of how it goes with this season. I think it's made it super interesting, though. It keeps you on your toes. It really makes it so that every race, everybody's just kind of figuring it out for the first time. There's a lot more mistakes being made, but it's just more interesting racing. It doesn't just become this little draft train the entire time.
Well, going forward through the rest of the season, obviously we hit the halfway point in the middle of next week's race. Are you anticipating you'll be able to walk away with the podium and the points as well?
I'd hope to. I mean, I got 2 in a row. This is better than I'd expected this season to go. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see if we can get another one.
Well, the Pro 2 light trucks are just around the corner, and we'll see how things pan out for you when we go racing once again next week.
Thanks, guys.
Tyler Agostino comes home number 3 this afternoon, and that is going to be it then for us here this afternoon. Fen, a wild race to have ourselves with a good afternoon here in this one, and more action yet to come a week from tonight with Pro 2 light trucks.
Absolutely. I think I'm personally very excited for Pro 2 light trucks. I know some of our drivers may not be as excited as I am, but I always love watching them rip around, and especially on tracks that we don't get to see them too often. We had a blast, I think, commentating the last time they were out at Homestead in Miami, especially with the more unique method they took about getting the sprint race done. So I'd have to imagine they're going to cook up something equally as enjoyable. Once again, probably leveraging the absence of track limits is going to be my easy guess on what we're going to experience. But we don't know until we get our track pick next week. Are you looking forward to the Pro 2 lights?
I certainly am. If Homestead's into the go-by, it's going to be an absolutely stellar afternoon. But before we get to that and more racing action still yet to come here on Green Flag TV. When we go racing once again, it is going to be tomorrow night for the final race of the Highline Diecast Electrical Speed Cup Series in 2025. We'll see who is crowned a champion and what is effectively becoming a winner-takes-all grudge match at Homestead Miami Speedway. The Zero Tour Racing League is out for more at the Elko Park Speedway on Friday after a one-week break. Plus, the Online Racing Series IndyCar action will be out in Milwaukee on Saturday alongside the SRA Super Speedway Blitz at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Then on Sunday, the month of November officially kicks off as the Classic IndyCar Series will take the pole day. 40 cars coming at you, and that will be starting at 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. High Time Racing will be back for more on Monday with Mid-Atlantic Race Series action. Back for more at Bristol on Tuesday, and then we're back on the Beer League on Wednesday night. If you want to find out more about who we are and what we can offer you, check us out today at www.greenflighttv.com. Once again, my name is Nolan Rempel alongside Acinni. Thank you all so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time when we go racing in the Beer League.